All right, so a couple of announcements. Just so you know, next week, Monday, our watercolor class starts again. It's a 3-week class every Monday for the next 3 weeks. There's a sign-up sheet at the desk if you want to sign up. If you're an artist and want to participate, please do that. Also, just letting you know that we do have a new shuttle service now. This is something new. We just started it on Wednesday of this week. So every Wednesday there's going to be a shuttle that can pick you up and bring you anywhere into Uxbridge or Northbridge. You can go shopping, you can go out for lunch, you can go to get a manicure, pedicure, whatever you want. Barber, whatever. So you have to call 48 hours in advance for that shuttle, but they'll pick you up, they'll drop you off, and they'll bring you home. So, and that's free of charge. So please take advantage of that.
That's pretty awesome.
It is.
Pretty awesome,
Yeah,
guys.
we're trying it out. This past Wednesday when we did it, I think we had like 8 people participating in that. So it's a good thing. All right, we want to welcome Viola. Thank you. And, yeah, we will do a formal introduction, and we also want to welcome the Uxbridge PD. Thank you so much.
Pretty good turnout of the Uxbridge PD over
We
there.
did.
Right.
I'm not going to call you old timers. I'm not going to do that.
Pretty cool.
No, I got you as my old timers.
They're retired, they feel coming in.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. Nice turnout.
Sally's on vacation next week. We will miss you. But thank you. All right, let's do a moment of silence before lunch. Thank you. Enjoy your lunch.
And we're done.
And we're done.
Hi everybody, how we doing today? So the chief lieutenant couldn't make it today, so I can delegate down the task to me.
We won the lottery.
We have a couple of things I was told to pass on. First, we all know that Jean's retiring. Who is it? Jean, the chief secretary. This is Claudine. She'll be taking Jean's place. You'll be seeing more of her with the chief on Fridays. A couple other announcements I'll still pass on. Tomorrow night is the fireworks. They're putting some parking restrictions on Morrison and Capering. Also, oak and granite's being worked on, so you should probably try and avoid that area if you can. The Rotary is supposedly almost all done. It's ahead of schedule, I was told. Don't know why we need that one, but so that's going on. The other thing is Sergeant Dave Bergeron's last day is today. He's retiring.
Beautiful color red.
From all that grilling.
It's okay, we won't remember what you said tomorrow anyway.
Neither will he. Anyway, today we have Viola Bramel from West Hills
I
Dam.
gotta borrow that when you're done.
Yes.
Technology's failing. Verizon's failing.
So she's going to give you a little lowdown on what's going on. She helps us out greatly. And she's got a lot of information.
And I said, I'm not out there digging fence post holes right now in this heat, so thank all of you. Thank you. I'm actually just gonna come around first though with a sound at each table. And I'm gonna use my backup materials here because cell phone worked great this morning in my apartment, but not here. So I wanna see if anyone recognizes this sound. Unfortunately, I apologize because I can't hear it on the other end too. I'm gonna come around each table because I don't want you to miss out. Cardinal and chickadee. apologize for how lousy my technology is.
Okay.
I would have made cassette tape. Yeah, oh, that's what I was hoping for. So we put her these.
This is our one for us. Because I couldn't identify the person.
Ta-da. Or maybe you've heard that message sometimes. It's like you're getting a visit from a loved one.
Come to our front yard.
Oh, yay. Yep, okay. This is good. I'll have 10,000 sticks in there. Or one of those things. Sure. Does that sound familiar?
So I'm gonna
I'm gonna go again.
Yeah.
There's only 4
If they, yeah, they're all set. That's all we have, so if they want to.
So redbird or a cardinal? Have you heard that before?
We have them here in our yard.
And they did nest in your Christmas tree?
No, they're over in the egg. And then you have a bunch on the back there.
Yeah,
If I missed anybody, if I attended, I started with the cardinal and I brought birds first, only because I suspect many of you from places you traveled or still travel, or even when you take that ride in on the van going to Hannaford's or something, or getting a chance out here as you're coming out of your car, or if you have a place where it's your living place where there might be a feeder or something out, or your own yards. Birds are something we can all relate to. And did anybody have that? Because right now it's just animals. Food, water, and shelter. They're out there just doing their instinct. You want to come out and just spend I'm doing this heat right now, but come out on a different afternoon when it's a little bit cooler, and you got to get there in the morning because birds are up with the sun. Or you got to wait and come around 2 o'clock for that afternoon feeding before they hunker down. But I could spend all my time out around the office and not even see them for a while. It's all the different sounds and what they're doing or what's going on. Or if anybody around your place has ever heard, or anyone, if you hear this the next time, if you can, go exploring. Have you ever heard a whole bunch of crows just calling and being really loud and obnoxious? And they're sitting in a tree around something? That's called treeing an owl or treeing a predator. And what they're doing is they're warning everything else out in that woods, predator, predator, it's here, it's here. So get your head in under there and go see what's going on. I stepped out under some trees one time all the way up in Leicester at one of the state forests because I kept hearing that noise. Great horned owl straight up over the front of me like thanks, lady. Whoops. Miss Sally's got my mic. Is it? Miss Sally, I gotta do 2 more bird calls eventually.
Guys, 2 more bird calls.
Okay, let's do those real quick because I did bring these for you to see. And then we're going to stop for a minute and see if anybody has any stories with birds. So let's do those first so we won't keep messing up the microphone. All right, let's see. Isn't that wonderful? Come on, stay right there, Sally. Raise your hand if that's not loud enough where you're sitting, though. Could be one of the 2 I have sitting on the table up here. It likes orange slices and jam. People that feed these stuff. The Oreo. Yeah? Okay, we'll do one more real quick so you can hear the other one that I carried in. They are. Those do really well, and they're in the spring you feed them mealworms and a few other things at first, just to get them to get through those last couple cold winter months. There's another one up here on the table, but his feathers are blue. These now come east of the Mississippi. A little smaller than a blue jay. So indigo buntings now are on this side of the country. They're not only out west of Colorado. I have a chance for these too. All right, thank you, Miss Hall. You can go do what you need to do with that microphone.
They all know I don't need a microphone.
Thank you, Dr. Minute, and the cardinals and things you've been hearing your other birds. Has anybody had an unusual bird experience or encounter with one, or childhood memory or feeding one, or parents taught you some of the bird species, or a favorite teacher from school maybe, or any stories to share? Sally, when you were out there at the pond with Ruthie all summer, did she teach you birds or other things?
Other things.
Other things, that's true. And who was the ranger that taught you how to drive on the dikes of the dam? Because Carly and Stan are here to give you a
His
Ruthie
name was
story.
Marty.
Marty, go
And
Marty.
we drove in the thing. The car was the thing. On the side of the
Yep.
dam.
Yeah, don't do that today, I don't want to get out my ticket book. So anyway, all of these, and I couldn't bring everything from the office, and I could not possibly bring you every species at West Hill, but I'm just going to tell you, and especially if you want to bring the Blessed One Day Sally, or we go down to the pond at the park, it's a symphony of birds in there every morning. I could stay over there for hours, from the red-winged blackbirds, to the pileated woodpecker, to the smaller woodpeckers, to the black ducks that are in, which have all their babies right now. They got all their secondary feathers. There's lots of ducks and babies down at the pond. Oh, we ran into that's a whole 6-chapter story through the town, and my safest answer is call the Uxbridge assessor's office. They keep saying, I don't want to know anything else, and I don't want to be subpoenaed. There are a lot of possible solutions or plans that are all being looked at, but what will or won't, I have to stay out of the politics of all of that. I'm trying to think if I had any unusual bird story. I told you about the owls. I'll tell you the very first time though that I ever saw an eagle, I was so surprised because I'd never seen one. And I was out at Cave Run Lake in eastern Kentucky where I went to school, and I had to walk all the big dikes on the dam all the way back then. Funny, I work for the Corps now with dams, huh? And I'm going along, and it was an immature, and as I went to step, and it was a baby golden eagle. And man, like it's going, big bird, and I'm going, big bird. That was the first one I ever seen. And the first time I ever tried to describe, oh, you know, and they're down at the pond. We've seen a great blue heron before. There's big herons that like, yeah. Yeah, okay. How did you ever describe that bird the first time you saw it flying or by the water? Did you kind of go home to mom and say, but it was big, or any thoughts? What do you remember?
A pterodactyl.
Thank you, because that was the first thing I said to my professor, pterodactyl bird, that's what I'm seeing. And that's what, yeah, so those blue herons like that.
They come right at you.
They do, they can, yeah. Oh, and the funniest thing I ever watched with them, here's another bird story, because the stocking truck is one of my fishermen, and I have a taxidermist up here at that first table. We were talking today. So I'm out there watching, and the stocking truck's out there. Here comes the blue heron, and it gets this rainbow trout. This is the guy who releases them in the water. And all the fishermen are like, those are our fish, bird. And the bird's trying to take off with it. It looked like a pelican. And it's just, and it never got higher than my head. And it flew all the way across both beaches. Sally knows where those beaches are. And it went out into a big hummock in the wetland behind Short Beach, where Sally used to go to the frog pond out there. And I said, how is, yes, there are two back there. How is this bird gonna eat a rainbow trout? It couldn't turn it like a pelican. Their beak's not like that. It sat that thing down on a big hummock of grass, clawed it down, and just pecked until it ate what it wanted. But now you know how a heron would eat. And these were nice rainbows. But anyway, sometime I just want to bring birds to you a little bit because there's so much going on. If you think of anything while we're sharing today, the floor's open to things with birds or things you've encountered. If nothing else, like this morning I stepped out real quick to see, I was praying like, please let one tomato plant finally get pollinated out there. So I took 5 minutes this morning to walk around. And there was the cardinal. I could hear him off in the trees. And that to me, although robins are more of my favorite because it always makes me think of mom and dad, because I had a robin nest out my window my whole childhood. We never took that nest out. So every year that was like my family of robins. So those kind of sounds, I bet some sounds take you all back too. But I brought a couple other animals to share with you that are going on out there, and then I'm just going to give you 2 safety tips and a gift that I have to offer you. I also brought one thing along, and I was so hoping they were going to be here today. You have some volunteers here at the Senior Center that are also members, so I'll pass these pictures around. But check out the dead center picture. That's Carly and Stan Buttrick. Has anybody met the Buttricks yet? Because they'll tell you some stories from West Hill too. They came in 1996 or 97. They volunteered with us for over 20 years out there in their old camper and parked out there. And yeah, 2 different pets or dogs that they had, and we used to laugh because eventually we built 2 pets so we could have 2 volunteer couples. Stan's little dog Pepper here got used to a white door on somebody else's camper when they travel around the country doing their ministry work. And Dick and Nell pulled their camper, and I guess it assumed, Dick and Nell, this has got to be the same people that always fed me bacon. So Pepper was at the other person's door every morning, like Carly goes, you're going to have to start cooking him bacon because that's what he's looking for. If anybody wants to see some pictures, I'll pass this around too. When you're done, let me know. I'll hop into the next page. Hi, Ron. So a couple of us been talking this morning. Is anybody besides those that already told me what this is recognize that animal? They'd be a lot longer. This is a baby. They'd be about 3 feet long and dark brown, like a big seal.
She showed that.
It is a Fisher cat. Yes, they do lots of things. And they're like the fox right now out there, and the coyotes, which I'm happy to say only the Fisher and the fox stay on property. The coyotes only come onto West Hill property long enough to hunt at night, and then they go back to a ledge way off property. So they're not anywhere staying on property. So even in the drought last year. But the 2 unusual things we got with the drought last year, just thinking of our mammals out there, we have a beautiful bobcat. And she had kittens about 3 years ago. What are the odds? I'm so far out in the middle of the woods, and it's fall, and she's going to move those kittens. They're already weaned, and they got their second fur. They're beautiful little bobcats. She was going to move them over to the ledge for her winter den. What are the odds? Some guy comes hiking up behind me while I'm out there, and he goes, that's a funny looking dog, isn't it, lady? Oh yeah, you betcha. And right in this beautiful hemlock next to me, you all heard blue jays before, right? All that cock-on, how loud they are? It looked like a Christmas tree with about 15 shaking ornaments on it, because every one of them blue jays put their beak down under their wings and were clacking their bills. They knew that was a predator, that cat. They were warning everything, and they were just sitting underneath. And they didn't move to all those cats and kittens. I'm trying to talk to the man, watch the kittens, watch the blue jays. It was the wildest about. I bet all of that went down in less than 2 minutes. But you know, right place, right time sometimes. That was, what a thrill. I got really lucky.
You're not there when you want to be.
Exactly. It works out like that sometimes, doesn't it? Yep. That's like, what are the odds on an old cruise ship one time, a really small boat. I went up and did a little bit of research in Alaska for a while. And here were 2 pods of those killer whales, orcas. And the 2 males out of each family pod moved over and mated in the other pod and went back, just in the right amount of time. And I can tell you out there, every animal out there knows how to do it. And if you need some of those stories or sex ed for your grandkids or whatever, Bill Bentley's that. So all I ever hear from the mothers it'll usually be, why is that frog on top of the other frog? And I hear all these mothers and dads go, thank God Viola, your teacher, but not me. If you want to see any of these things closer, please ask. I'll bring them around to you.
What's he doing?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Why are they? Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah. And then another one I thought you would enjoy, and I don't know, it is a wood duck. Did any of you work at the hat factory over in Upton? Or work in some other industry where you remember feathers maybe being used? Because over here would have been like White Machine Works and that, they wouldn't use feathers. But the male birds in every species in North America have all those bright colors. But look back at even your parents, like your dad's hat or your grandfather's hat. Do you remember those pretty little feathers you always saw there? I don't think they put them on the lapel of suits, but there were other places, those pretty little different feathers. So the boys have all the color. I always say the boys wear the makeup. And the girls go after the boys with the makeup. But in the hat industry days, thank God for reproduction, a lot more male birds were ever taken than females, so it's still allowed for survival of species. But girls, we get our due, and I don't have one to show you. We'll have to look up a picture, but the belted kingfisher, which we have at West Hill, and it can hover like a helicopter, going down and get fish. They're blue, bigger than a blue jay, And you might, Bruce, you might see them down there in your water by the Crown Eagle. The girl has a big, bright, resting chest. Leave it to the God or somebody to put the bright colors on the chest of the female too. But that's the only one, girls, that has the bright feathers. I gotta warn you. And I stuck this in more like a trick or whatever, just to have some happiness, because they're out there all reproducing and doing really well too. And the two of the species of snakes we have at West Hill. If anybody would like to touch some snake skin that's never touched snake skin? Anybody want to torment your neighbor with some snake skin? And less cornmeal. Oh, come on, Gail. It's not wet and slimy like you think. Oh, you care to give them a description? You want to touch and tell them what you're feeling? Nice. Gail's going to do your work for you. It's soft. Some people talk like bubble wrap. Crunchy. Yeah. They don't go to Walmart to get clothes. They just wiggle out. That's good. But the two species we have at West Hill, and you might get to see this Crown Eagle in places where you have water, so start watching, because it's that time of year. The snakes have already made it.
Oh, we already got a huge one.
Okay. Yeah, those racers, huh? That's the one that'll sit and shake his tail at you once you think it's a rattlesnake.
The guy who was getting rid of it.
Oh, there you go. And then the milk snake will do that too, and they have beige and white spots down their body. And the milk snake will try to get you to think it's a rattle too. And the other one we have out there, I'm not getting as many reports this year, but they're starting to come back. Get ready to go possibly on endangered species. If you ever get out there and you have this snake that sits up at you and fans out its neck and acts like a cobra, that's an eastern hognose, and that's exactly what it wants you to do. That reaction, get out of my way, because I'm not getting out of yours. If you sit there and try to call your bluff, and if you back off or you don't stay long enough, it rolls over and plays dead and then sneaks away when you're not looking. I had 2 reports last week of 2 people running into them. But the northern water snake and our garter snakes out there, they don't lay their eggs in hollow logs or anything. How neat. Come down by the water. Watch. Oops, that happens. They give live birth in the water. Can you imagine snakes with a live birth in the water? So if you ever get to see that, that's one picture I don't have yet, so I need that picture. Okay? And a few other pictures. That's a big one. It comes out with just a little yolk sac on it, no shell, fully develops in the stomach of the mama snake, and out in the water it goes, and off you go. You got about 3 bites left in there, and then you're a teenager, grow up. And then last thing I thought I would share with you, because you may be dealing with this, I brought you 2 safety items to take with you if you like, or one to take as an idea to use, and the other one I have some I can give out to you. Anybody dealing with wasps or hornets or something near your like air conditioner or something right now, or on your porch railings, or... So check out this little one first. You can pass this whole bag around. There's a penny in there to show you. Hornets in the winter. Oh, girls, we're the lucky ones in this species. That's the only one that survives in the winter. The female goes down into the ground or under the bark of the tree, and she spends the whole winter. The others do not survive. And when that comes out in the spring and that little female emerges, check out how tiny her first little comb is. She lays 10 egg cells. That's it. 10 worker bees. Feeds the death out of them until they hatch. And every year, after those 10 get fed, and those 10, and those 10, this is probably only the base. So picture, I'll walk around with this, that little 10 in the middle, she starts out with those 10 workers, feeds them all up, lays 10 more, they help her feed those, keeps adding 10 to 20 at a time. And that's only one little tiny layer in that hornet's nest. And I have some out at the office that are probably bigger than basketballs, to give you an idea. So a little layer, little layer, little layer, and they keep getting bigger until she seals up. If you ever want to go collect one of these, though, you got to wait till winter. Put a big black hefty trash bag over it. Tie it tight around the top, and then you clip the branch. And my neighbors think I get the craziest gifts in the world, but I got one of those on my doorstep on Valentine's Day, and I was perfectly happy. I know who brought it to me, too. Ken Matson did me that. But what works really good, everybody's probably seen good old insect repellent with DEET in it. It's not going to kill these or anything, but if you go spray under your railings, or if you have a problem with ants, you put one little stream across your door frame, yeah. They don't crawl in. I've never used anything more at the office than one little thing of this across the door frame about 3 times a year. Yeah, so keep that in mind. It actually under the boards on the picnic tables when we don't sit. It stays on there for a couple months too. So keep that in mind. It works really good. No, spiders are, they play by a whole different ballgame. But they eat other bugs.
I know, but I don't want them in my kitchen.
Oh, okay. Now, out of curiosity, are your kitchen walls blue?
No.
They don't like the color blue. Don't go repaint your whole place.
No, I
But if you can get a blue, like a window shade or something with some blue in there, they don't like it.
just come under the door.
Oh, well, yeah, try one little stream of this by the door then. Let us know. You're our experiment.
What's the name?
It's like Deep Woods Off, or all the other ones make it too. I can't remember the name. So Johnson & Johnson or something. Yeah, so just make one little stream on your door gasket or by your frame. Let me know what happens.
Spiders that come in my backyard. My screen door.
The last thing I brought to all of you then, we'll just do questions or stories, although, while I'm talking about these, I want to hear some of your stories, because what I enjoyed watching in here is everybody got their lunch. If I could have told you how many people were going like this, or you took that bite into that burger or something, the way your face is lit up, you all must have a favorite recipe from mom or something, or a favorite picnic story. There's got to be something, or the first time you ever tasted a certain thing, like shoe fly pie or something. Be thinking of those. What I'm going to offer you today, I don't have lanyards, but I have really nice safety whistles. Idea being that even if you tripped or fell somewhere, or you walk your dog at night or whatever, I don't guarantee it does anything for the coyotes. Ladies, you can hide these anywhere. That's my old lifeguard whistle from college. It goes everywhere. You see what you do? Like I know that. So much. Or a keychain, or if you're wearing a strap around your neck, even if you're out in Hannaford's and fell in the parking lot or got overheated or anywhere that you're at. Anyway, anybody would like a safety whistle, let me know. Okay, I'll come around. Anybody got any questions, thoughts, stories, animals that you'd like to share? Did you think of what that favorite thing is you like to lick off your fingers? Or the floor is yours. I have a...
What is shoe fly pie?
It's delicious.
Is it?
Is it condensed milk and cinnamon? It's almost like a snickerdoodle, but in a pie. Remember? Yeah, and it's a fake crust. It's not graham cracker.
Maybe Sally can make it for us.
What?
Shoe fly
I
pie.
think they think it's another one.
Not after I saw the movie The Help. I'll make you anything else.
Oh, maybe they like to prip a lot. I don't know about them cardinals. But I'll tell you the best offer I ever got, but really the worst offer. So my roommate in college, and my ancestors all came from this same area. It was Kentown, Kentucky. And they raised tobacco, they raised corn at that time. That was probably the two big ones. Staking tobacco and topping tobacco and baling hay is like the worst job in the world. So my roommate in college, her dad kept waiting for a boy. They ended up with 7 girls in that family. So derby pie, all I ever heard was, well, it's time to top tobacco. Mom's gonna make you derby pie. You gotta come home with me this weekend. I'm like, there ain't enough derby pie on the planet to top all that acres of tobacco. Or the rope burns I used to get off baling hay and stuff. It's like, but derby pie, maybe you guys have had it somewhere, they call it that recipe, magic cookie bars. My roommate used to make it in college. It's like a layer of condensed milk and chocolate chips and coconut, and ooh, there's about 7 things in there that every happy spot in your brain just keeps going. Anyway, that's what derby pie is.
How we doing, guys?
Anybody got any thoughts or a favorite pie story? We wrap up?
Is it classic one?
Anybody learn how to make pies? My mother taught me the lattice and all that stuff. Bruce, you had a secret recipe. You're always going to do 3 different kinds of apples in your apple pie. Yeah, and did yours have a crust on top or the Dutch style? Okay, just have the crust.
Oh, pear
Any
pies.
questions or thoughts or stories to share? Is Sally still in earshot? She's got a lot. Oh, Sally, any West Hill stories or
My
thoughts?
mom could make a pie on the grill.
Yeah.
My mom she would cook the coals in the grill.
Yeah.
Let them get burned. She'd put stones in there.
Okay.
Line it with tin foil. anything at West.
Yeah, and
And she cooked it all on the grill.
you could cook like that, that's a great skill. And what did she make you at that time? Rhubarb, baby, she did a lot of rhubarb.
It was either blueberries, fresh blueberries from
Oh,
Westfield.
that's right, we have a lot of nice blueberries. Yep. Well, your mom's rhubarb is still growing on the other side of the property. Ruthie lives on. Okay, I'm gonna let
All right, thank you so much, Viola. Thank you, thank you.